Hey everybody, Dylan Frazier here, Selkirk sponsored pickleball player, and we are discussing mastering the soft game. This is part 8, and this is the last and final part. So far we've discussed dinking at the kitchen line, kind of the basics and how to construct the dink points to your favor. We talked about working away from the baseline to kitchen line, utilizing the third shot drop. The last thing to cover is when to use the third shot drive. And there's a couple different situations when you might want to use that. As always, make sure you subscribe to Selkirk TV to check out their latest podcast and lesson content. So third shot drive. A couple different times when you'd use this is number one, if it's what I would call a bad return by your opponents. And by bad, I mean it's either shallow or it's really high, and you're able to kind of come in, step into the ball and crush it. And that's kind of like your shake and bake opportunity kind of drive. Okay, so if I see that my opponents, another good time to use the drive is if your opponents are slow to get up to the kitchen line. That would be another example of what I classify as a bad return. Okay, so if they hit you a bad return, then you're looking to drive the ball and then come in and poach the next one. And oftentimes you run what they call a shake and bake, which is the person that's hitting the drive is the shaker, and then their partner is the baker. They're going to come in and poach and finish it. However, you can shake and bake all by yourself at once. It can be the same person. Most of the time, it's one shaker and then your partner's the baker. The other time where you'd want to use a third shot drive is kind of the opposite situation. It's a really, really good return, and I'm maybe not comfortable dropping that ball into the kitchen. And so a really, really good return might look something like it's coming over really flat with a lot of spin, or it's deep and penetrating, or maybe I'm having to contact the ball here because it's such a good return and I'm not comfortable dropping it for whatever reason. In that situation, I might just go ahead and drive a ball with about 70% of my strength just flat over the net, with the idea that if I do that, then my opponents are going to block the ball back to me, and then I'm going to hit the fifth shot drop into the kitchen because it's going to be a much easier ball to drop into the kitchen. That being said, if I hit a poor drive here and my opponents hit a good volley back to me, then I might hit a 7th shot drive or a 9th shot drive or an 11th shot drive even, until I get a ball that I'm comfortable dropping into the kitchen. Okay, so those are your kind of two different examples. Either A, really bad return, short, high, they're not at the kitchen line, whatever, you want to come in and be aggressive and offensive and look for a shake and bake opportunity. Or option B, it's a really good return and you're trying to generate a ball that's easier to drop into the kitchen, and so you're going to drive until you get one of those. Okay, so we're going to demonstrate a couple of examples. We'll start with good returns. So I'm just going to drop the ball to Bethany and Scott here, and they're gonna feed it back to me, and we're going to treat this as a really good return. Okay, and so I'm going to drive the first one, and I'm going to see if I get a good ball on the next one to drop into the kitchen. If I do, then I'll drop it and work my way in, and if not, I'll drive again until I get a good ball to come in on. All right, so here we go. I'm going to start just feeding it in. I'm going to drive this one. Drive. And drop that one. And now I'm working my way into the kitchen. All right. And so in that example, I just drove until I got a good ball that I was comfortable dropping into the kitchen line. I wasn't really in a hurry to get to the kitchen line. I was comfortable just kind of hitting these drives with about 60 to 70% pace. And I'm not trying to win the point on that shot. I'm just trying to generate a ball that's easier to come in on. All right, so one more example of what that looks like. So I'm going to drive. I can drop this one. Well, I thought I could, but you get the idea. I got a ball that I could drop and come in on, and I'm gonna drop that one and make my way up to the kitchen line. Until I get that ball, I'm just gonna be comfortable driving from the baseline flat, about 70% of my strength, over the net. Okay. Now we're gonna do a couple of examples where it's a short return, and I'm gonna be aggressive and kind of run a shake and bake. All right, so here we go. I'm gonna drop it into Bethany here. Shallow, drive. And Scott did a good job of blocking that ball down to my feet, but that was a good opportunity for me to shake and bake. Here we go, another example. And so that's kind of what a shake and bake opportunity looks like. Where you can get into trouble with the shake and bake is if you get into a hurry. So again, make sure that you're always planting your feet, even as you're hitting the drive, hit the drive, and then you can follow it in for the bake. A lot of times I'll see players get excited and they get the ball and they start running through their shot like that, and it causes a miss because they're doing too many things at once. All right, so make sure you hit the drive with your feet planted, and then go look for the bake. One more example. And there you go. And that time we got the point on the first one. That's what a shake and bake looks like.